Hello everybody, Rusted Ground here, and welcome back to Mass Effect 2. It's been a while since we had a Codex read-through, and since we had the last Codex read-through, we have gathered a bunch of stuff in here, and I'd like to go through them now. This will probably be... I don't know if it'll be the last Codex entry that I do. We're pretty close towards the end now, as you can, as you have seen, we don't really have any more assignments to do. We only have like the main mission now, so we're pretty close to the end. And I also need to install the Arrival DLC, so that'll add another assignment probably, or mission to the whole story of the game. But yeah, so this is either gonna be the last, or we're either gonna have one more Codex entry, depending on what we find story-wise here. But anyway, let's cut the chit-chat here and let's go through these primary entries in the Codex. These are the new entries, and as you can see here, we have an entry in the Aliens Non-Council Races. So let's see what this is all about.
In the early 2160s, living beyond the Hanar...
Here we go, sorry.
Reaper indoctrination is an insidious means of corrupting organic minds, reprogramming the brain through physical and psychological conditioning, using electromagnetic fields, infrasonic and ultrasonic noise, and other subliminal methods. The Reaper's resulting control over the limbic system leaves the victim highly susceptible to its suggestions. Organics undergoing indoctrination may complain of headaches and buzzing or ringing in their ears. As time passes, they have feelings of being watched and hallucinations of ghostly presences. Ultimately, the Reaper gains the ability to use the victim's body to amplify its signals, manifesting as alien voices in the mind. Indoctrination can create perfect deep cover agents. The Reaper's suggestions can manipulate victims into betraying friends, trusting enemies, or viewing the Reaper itself with superstitious awe. Should a Reaper subvert a well-placed political or military leader, the resulting chaos can bring down nations. Long-term physical effects of the manipulation are unsustainable. Higher mental functioning decays, ultimately leaving the victim a gibbering animal. Rapid indoctrination is possible, but causes this decay in days or weeks. Slow, patient indoctrination allows the thrall to last for months or years.
So this entry is here because of the Reaper IFF mission, where we can actually see through the video logs that we found on the Reaper all the steps that are presented here in the Codex. When we begin the mission, we can see the first vlog and see the first signs of indoctrination, and then as we progress through the mission, we get to the final stages where the Cerberus agents or the Cerberus people that were on the derelict Reaper, they begin to see things and begin to feel like they're being watched, and then they see ghostly presences and stuff like that. So all of this we can see in that mission. If you haven't seen that mission, maybe you want to check it out. It's in the list. Okay, moving on to Sovereign here.
The flagship of the rogue X-Spectre, Saren Arterius. Sovereign is a devastating dreadnought of unprecedented power. At 2 kilometers long, Sovereign was believed to have been powered by a gigantic Element Zero core, the only energy source potent enough to land the massive vessel on a planet. During the Eden Prime War, the ship unleashed its peerless destructive force against which Citadel Council ships were defenseless. With a virtually indestructible flagship and a crew of fanatic Geth and Krogan, Saren nearly succeeded in wiping out all his enemies. Only the resourcefulness and bravery of the commander and crew of the SSV Normandy stopped him. The overwhelming power of Sovereign ignited bizarre speculation in tabloid media, that the vessel was sent by extragalactic invaders, or was, despite indeterminate photographic evidence at best, a single giant robot. Some sources even claimed that Sovereign was alive. Such conjecture, however baseless, remains to this day.
Okie dokie, so this is what, basically the story after, or the Codex entry after the attack on the Citadel, right? Okie dokie. Let's continue here, sorry. Let's see what other primary entries we have. We have one in planets and locations.
Humans detected Iea.
Sorry about this. Tuchanka, here we go.
The Krogan homeworld boasts extreme temperatures, virulent diseases, and vicious predatory fauna. Around 1900 BCE, the Krogan discovered atomic power and promptly instigated many intraplanetary wars, sending Tuchanka into a nuclear winter. With most of their industrial base destroyed, the Krogan entered a new dark age, and warring tribal bands dominated. Populations remained low for the next 2,000 years. First contact with the Solarians made resurgence possible. Krogan brought to less hostile planets bred exponentially and returned to reconquer their home. They built vast underground shelters to shield themselves from surface radiation, which proved prescient during the Krogan rebellions, when many of them isolated themselves in a vain attempt to avoid the genophage. Convinced they could outbreed the genophage, they transmitted it into more than 90% of the sealed bunkers. Today, Tuchanka's population is sharply limited, and while individual Krogan are long-lived, the genophage ensures few replacements.
Wow, okay, I didn't know that about trying to what's it called? Outbreed the genophage. Okay, that's an interesting plan. Okay, so that's it for the primary entries in the Codex. Let's move on to the secondary entries. And we have Aliens, Council Races. And we have Asari Justicars. Despite the refinement and sophistication of Asari culture, criminality remains a fact of life. The Asari solution to the most vicious and destructive criminal element is the Justicar Order. Justicars are an Asari class of virtually untouchable extrajudicial executioners operating almost exclusively within Asari territory. In the last decade alone, Justicars have smashed dozens of criminal rings inside Asari territory, operated by Asari and non-Asari alike. Their methods range from subtle where possible to brutal where necessary. Trained for extreme strength, biotic capacity, resourcefulness, asceticism, and ruthlessness, the fanatical Justicars are romanticized and feared throughout Asari society. Although Justicars generally work alone, their effectiveness arises from the huge body of knowledge they can access. An Asari who enters the ranks of Justicars has already spent centuries in a combination of criminal investigation, military intelligence, and combat experience. The collective body of Justicar knowledge exceeds even that of the Spectres. Justicars tend to be independent, requiring little help, but also scorning it since such advanced skill and experience usually travels with a powerful ego. The conflicts presented by such arrogance prompted the Justicar Order to develop the Oaths of Subsummation. The Oaths pledge protection of the innocent, the punishment of the guilty, and defense of common law and the norms of Asari society. The effect of the Oaths is conservative, ensuring that Justicars respect the existing distribution of Asari power rather than staging a coup to rearrange society according to Justicar satisfaction. Nevertheless, the possibility of such an attack is a source of anxiety. The counterintelligence among the Asari elite. Of all the pledges, the third Oath of Subsummation is sworn the least of any of the oaths, requiring a Justicar to swear loyalty that overrides the dictatives the dictates, of even the Justicar code, the third oath is usually invoked in matters where even the black or white thinking of Justicars is forced to concede the existence of gray. Whoa. Heavy duty, I have to say. It's super interesting. Anything else? No, nothing else. Really? Okay. Yeah. Okay, let's move on to Aliens Non-Council Races. And the first entry, we have the Drell culture. 8 centuries ago, the already arid Drell homeworld, Rakana, began its swift descent into lifelessness due to disastrous industrial expansion. Because their population was bursting at 11 billion and they did not possess interstellar flight capacity, the Drell would have been doomed without the intervention of the Hanar. Following first contact, the Hanar spent 10 years transporting 350,000 willing Drell to their own homeworld Kaje. The remaining billions perished in the dying world, warring against each other for diminishing sources of water and food. Today, only a few thousand survive on Rakana in clusters never exceeding a few hundred. Now, a cemetery world, Rakana's population can double during pilgrimage season. Drell have been part of the galactic community for almost 2 centuries. Most reside on Kaje, content to coexist with the Hanar. Those who leave Kaje tend to be adventurers. Gifted by the Hanar with acute perception of interspecies body language, solitary Drell travelers often seek out new species elsewhere, adopting that species' culture and rarely returning to Kaje. Such Drell number in the thousands and are scattered across the galaxy, tending towards quiet, integrated lives. On Kaje, the Hanar afforded the Drell every opportunity to thrive. While outsiders and even some Hanar regard the Drell as junior partners, if not actual servants, Drell have integrated themselves into every level of Hanar society as respected, productive citizens. That is very cool. Let's move on to Geth Heretics, and this is like one of the newest entries, so to say, in the Codex, because this is we found out about these heretics from Legion. Conversations with the Geth programs dubbed Legion have brought to light a profound schism in Geth society. When Saren Arterius approached the Geth in the Dreadnought Sovereign, some of them chose to follow him. Most did not. Saren's followers were allowed to leave Geth society, but were dubbed heretics by those that remained. The revelation implies several things. First, the majority of Geth chose not to attack organic society. Second, the Geth forces and the Council the Geth forces, the Council, and Alliance fleets have been battled. The last 2 years represent only a small portion of their actual military and economic power, perhaps as little as 5% of mainstream Geth society. Third, this schism suggests that individual Geth possesses more free will and perhaps even personality than previous suspected. Without such individuality, no Geth could have deviated from the group decision to join or reject Saren's mission. There could not have been a division. Finally, there is the matter of Legion's word choice. The Geth used the English word heretics to describe Saren's followers. Of the many words Legion could have chosen, nonconformists, dissenters, rebels, etc., only the word heretic suggests a broadly accepted Geth philosophy or religion, and that the action of Saren's allies violated the orthodoxy. That is true. I really haven't thought about that, but it's his choice of words is interesting. Cool. Okay, let's see what else do we have here. Shadow Games, The Broker's Secrets. Hello. The Yog. The Yog are a race of massive apex predators from the world of Parnak whose rise to sentience is no way blunted their violent nature. A group of Yag is unable to cooperate until a single leader has been determined through either social maneuvering or brute force, but no grudges are held once a Yag establishes dominance. Former rivals serve their new superior's purpose with unflinching loyalty and relentless determination, a legacy of their origin as pack species. Their 8 eyes are another sign of their hunter ancestry. All 4 pairs are geared toward tracking down and predicting the movement of prey. Sophisticated and keenly developed sensitivity to movement and light have made Yags masters at reading body language regardless of species. Much to their short-lived chagrin, the Council's first contact teams discovered it was nearly impossible to lie to the Yag. Wow. The Yag had technology equivalent to 20th century Earth standards when they were discovered by the Council in 2125. The Council's ambassadors approached the Yag as friends and allies instead of subordinates, a baffling sign of contempt from newcomers on Parnak. The Yag attacked when it became apparent that the alien diplomats stubbornly considered themselves sovereign people instead of new underlings. Parnak remains off-limits by order of the Council, which fears that the Yag's size, aggression, and obsession with control make them poorly suited for integration into the galactic community. Whoa, this is quite interesting. Okay, moving on to ships and vehicles. And I think we're going to talk about the Helius thruster module. Intended for next-generation fighter craft, the Heed Industries Helius thruster module propulsion system far outpaces the typical liquid hydrogen-liquid oxygen reactions that power a frigate's maneuvering thrusters. By using metastable metallic hydrogen, the Helius boasts a fuel that burns at far greater efficiency than liquid H2O2. Navigators can execute the numerous small course corrections inherent to any long-distance travel without fear of exhausting the ship's fuel supplies. This net gain extends to forward impulse as well. A ship powered by antiprotons can coast temporarily using the Helius to reach an inferior but highly sustainable speed. Such efficiency lowers antiproton consumption, a constant concern for any warship. When a Helius-propelled ship must refuel, however, it typically relies on a large carrier or nearby planetary factory to synthesize the metallic hydrogen. This process uses extremely dense mass effect fields to create the metal under pressure of over 1 million Earth atmospheres, an activity most safely done while planet-side. While that process may seem like a drawback compared to skimmer ships that can gather hydrogen and oxygen from anywhere in the universe, the combat superiority of a Helius maneuvering capabilities is often a worthwhile trade-off. Effort probably. The same efficiency that allows for micro-burn course correction can power rapid bursts of motion. Once a pilot becomes used to the ship's new energetic responses, she can easily put the ship wherever and whatever angle she desires. Once a pilot becomes used to the ship's new energetic responses, she can easily put the ship wherever and whatever angle she desires. Why is it implied that the pilot is always a she? Okay. Let's move on to starships, dreadnoughts. The ultimate arbiter of space warfare, the dreadnought employs millions of tons of metal, ceramic, and polymer in the projection of firepower against an enemy vessel of like ability. No sane commander would face a dreadnought without a dreadnought of his or her own. A dreadnought's power lies in the length of its main gun. Dreadnoughts range from 800 meters to 1 kilometer long. The main guns of commensurate length. An 800-meter mass accelerator is capable of accelerating one 20-kilo slug to a velocity of 4,025 kilometers per second, 1.3% of light speed, every 2 seconds. Jesus. Each slug has the kinetic energy of 38 kilotons of TNT. Enough to destroy the infrastructure of a mid-sized city and kill 500,000 people. Wow. Because of air friction, planets with atmospheres do not feel a slug's full devastation. Atmospheric drag reduces impact force by 20% per Earth atmosphere of air. At present, the Turian fleet possesses 39 dreadnoughts, the Asari 20, and the Solarians 16. Each of the Human Alliance's 8 dreadnoughts is named for terrestrial mountains. Everest class, Everest, Fuji, and Elbrus. Kilimanjaro class, Kilimanjaro, Taishan, Shasta, Aconcagua, and Orizaba. Cool. Starships, Quarian live ships. Here we go. There are few wide open spaces in Quarian spacecrafts. Live ships are the exception. Each ship is a massive hydroponics facility growing thousands of tons of genetically modified staple crops under artificial light and in highly enriched soil. The surface of a live ship is studded with docking bays so as many shuttles as possible can distribute the foods throughout the flotilla on a daily basis. When received, the crops are sterilized with radiation, ground up into nutritious pastes, and pumped into Quarian suits through feeding tubes. In return, waste products that could be used as fertilizer or compost are returned to the live ships through an efficient, if odorous, recycling program. Oh my god. Okay. Live ships do not hold animals. The Quarians consume a vegan diet driven not by ethics but by practicality. Captive animals require living space and consume large amounts of water and planet matter. The Quarians cannot afford such an inefficient resource-to-calorie ratio, to say nothing of a live animal's disease or allergen potential. As a result, when the flotilla arrives in a star system where life is based on the same dextroamino acids that the Quarians consume, pastes based on animal proteins fetch highly inflated prices, and the vendors are typically mobbed by Quarians wanting a new taste sensation. The sickness that often follows these binges is treated much the same way as hangovers are in human culture. Painful, but part of the overall experience of excess. That is so cool. They get drunk on pastes. that has to be... that is one of the funniest things I've ever heard. Okay, that is... Okay, let's move on to special vehicles. The Hammerhead. M44 Hammerhead. The M44 Hammerhead infantry fighting vehicle is a highly maneuverable, Mass Effect-assisted armored vehicle. Using 3 solid fuel rocket thrusters instead of wheels, the Hammerhead hovers over the battlefield up to 120 km per hour, allowing it to maintain formation with swift, armored units, skim across calm water, and even leap terrain obstacles. Backup micro boosters guarantee locomotion, so even destruction of 2 main thrusters leaves the vehicle capable of full mobility. Oh, wow, okay. The Hammerhead retains most features of interplanetary fighting vehicles: an airtight interior, 360-degree kinetic barriers, and a guided missile system, ensuring accuracy during even aggressive maneuvering. Its electronic countermeasures extend to laser detection, chaff, active thermal masking, and ground-penetrating weapons sniffing radar. The Hammerhead's navigation control emulates that of tanks, so tank drivers can operate Hammerheads without additional training. Factory-issue Hammerheads, therefore, have no altimeter or similar sensors and are best used at the standard cruising altitude, 2 meters off the ground. Okay, let's move on to the Master Thief Kasumi's Secrets. Whoa, okay. We have... okay, let's look at the gray boxes. I don't know if I think we read this before, the gray boxes. No, we read this before, definitely. So let's move on to Casa Fabrication's Locust. The gun that killed 2 presidents is the infamous legacy of the Casa Fabrications Model 12 Locust, originally created for the Systems Alliance who wanted a lightweight weapon for high-gravity worlds. The Locust was designed to overcome the limitations of traditional submachine guns at long range. With bullet velocity of modern weapons already pushed to the limit, the Locust's designers sought a way to improve accuracy through reducing weapon kick. Yeah, that's right, because it has no kick, basically. No recoil, almost. They created an internal floating bed that absorbs the gun's recoil with minimal jarring of the gun's frame itself. The barrel, magazine chamber, and operating mechanism all move within this bed, which absorbs shock with springs and buffers. This creates a platform stable enough that the Locust can use auto-targeting software usually reserved for match-grade weapons. The Locust's lethality on shielded targets has been amply demonstrated. In 2176, a Virginian patent clerk named Michael Moser Lang brought a Locust concealed in a shoulder-mounted video camera to a photo opportunity between Enrique Aguilar, President of the United North American States, and Chinese People's Federation Premier Ying Zhong. Okay. At a distance of about 25 meters, Lang pierced the kinetic barriers covering the stage with the first burst, and then Zhong heroically tackled Aguilar to move him from the line of fire. Lang's succeeding bursts went through the Premier's body and fatally wounded both men. Donovan Hawk's collection contains 2 antique ivory-handed Locusts modified to take thermal clips. A detachable data drive rests in the lining of the box containing OmniTool specifications for fabricating copies. A quick tip to the extranet reveals one of the weapons has the same serial number as Lang's original. If it's a fake, it's extremely well made. Whoa, okay, interesting. Lady Liberty. Okay, the Lady Liberty, we saw it in Kasumi's loyalty mission. We saw the head of Lady Liberty in Donovan's collection. So let's see what's going on here. The Statue of Liberty was the target of several terrorist attacks over its 210-year lifetime. But in 2096, a motley group called Freedom's First finally brought the statue down. Protesting the induction of Canada and Mexico into the United North American States, the New York chapter of Freedom's Fist wanted a symbol that they would secede from this new union if necessary. In the early morning hours of November 1st, they smuggled small arms and 15.5 tons of high explosive into Liberty Island. Shooting or capturing the guards, they planted the explosives under the pedestal and detonated them at 7:37 a.m. The statue crashed to the ground in pieces, unexpectedly killing 4 of the Freedom Fist's terrorists. The remaining team members were apprehended after long manhunts, but the damage was done. The outrage at the secessionists kindled the fires of the Second American Civil War. On November 4th, President Caitlin Chong signed an executive order to rebuild the statue. Approximately 1/10 of the steel beams and copper plating from the destroyed statue was recovered and used in creating the new one. The original's head was put on display at the National Museum of American History in Washington, D.C. It remained there for 2 years until the Battle of Washington. During heavy shelling by secessionist forces, the head disappeared. A new statue was completed in 2101, and the fate of the original pieces was left for speculation and pulp novels. Interest flared up briefly in 2159 when photos surfaced of the head in the cargo hold of a starfighter, but by that time human media were far more concerned with the future. In the face of humanity spreading out among thousands of new planets, a statue titled Liberty Enlightening the World seemed small and quaint by comparison. Wow, that is a super cool story, like a mini story about the Statue of Liberty. Very, very cool. Okay, I think these are all the entries in the codex that we have gathered so far. I was actually expecting to see more, but that's that. So we'll have to see what we gather so far. Very interesting, very interesting. All the story, all the entries are very interesting, and like I've said it before, I love the way the developers of this game just thought about like the scientific stuff. The scientific stuff is the stuff that like really gets me. And like you know, it all seems very real when you read it like that. You know, it seems like you know, can this be done in the real world, or you know. But anyway, that's why I love to read the codex, and that's why I do it. To find out more about the game, to find out more about the world, to find out more about the Mass Effect universe as a whole. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this read-through, and if you did, please give a like to the video. If you didn't, give a dislike. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Thank you very much for all your support. I know some of you have been waiting for this codex entry, and I said I would bring it. And don't worry, I know that I haven't done a codex reading video in a while, so here it is. Okay, I'm going to shut up now and wish you all a good evening or morning or good day. And I will see you all in the next video. Thank you. Bye-bye.